I have been on a journey of self-care and putting myself first. And I started that journey in 2017 because that was when, in January of 2017, that was when my husband of 25 years left. So, no. And while it was a slow bloom, he was gone. And so I have 3 children, they're all adult children. So, and I got married at 28. So for 25 years, my life was my children and my husband. I love being a mom. Even to this day, I am the mom, right? But when my kids were growing up, I said I was the VIP. I said a very involved parent. I was a basketball game, football game, and all 3 of my children were active in different sports, and and just all of that. So I enjoyed what I was doing. I loved it. It was my desire to be a godly wife, and be that Proverbs 31 woman, if you're familiar with that. Yeah. But I enjoyed my time with that. But over the years, I realized, I started to see as like, I'm not doing anything I want to do, right? And I was fine with it would be time, and it was okay because it was important for me to get my children to the next step on the other side, and I didn't have a problem with that. But when my husband left, it gave me time to pause, right? And I had to do some self-reflection because it takes 2, and I could sit here and give you a whole bunch of reasons why he did this and didn't do and da-da-da-da. But I also can give you just as many reasons of why I wasn't who I needed to be. And it was going through that process of self-reflection and all that, I realized how unwell I was. And by that, I was going to church, had a relationship with God, very active in my church, right? So, praying and had a relationship, that wasn't it, I was financially doing some things, I was working, so I was, all of these things, but as I started to think and reflect and peel back the onion, I was so unwell. And it made me realize, as I looked at my network of friends, we're all in that same spot, right? When we're functioning, we got the mask on, we're doing well, we're showing up on our front stage, right? We got it going on. We show up, we at work, we're doing it. But on our backstage and what's going on the inside, it's not where it needed to be. So I decided that I was going to put myself first and figure out what that looked like. So, for me, it was a spiritual journey. Had to go through periods of just forgiving myself, forgiving my ex-husband, apologizing to my children who were adults as we were going through this, right? My kids were all adults going through this divorce. And so I just realized that I forgot to put my mask on first. Stay tuned for that book next year. And so if you're on a plane and they go through and tell you where the exits are and they tell you the oxygen mask comes down, if you're traveling with children, put your mask on first. And that's really counterintuitive to what we would normally do, right? Because we normally help others, we help our children, we help our husband, we help and we doing everything. And so I just forgot to put my mask on. And so, I was busy in church, I was, like I said, busy at work, I was working, I was just doing all these things. And so I decided that I had to put myself first. And some of the things that I did was, and it wasn't just about, it was self-care, but self-care in all areas of my life, right? When you think of dimensions of wellness, it was all dimensions of wellness. And I realized that I was spending to take the place of feeling. Right?
Yeah.
So you get to peel that back. You know, you had a good day, you go shopping. You have a bad day, you go shopping. Right? Something great happens, you go. But that allows you, at least for me, to spend, and I wasn't feeling. Right? I could spend, so I didn't have to deal with the stuff that I knew that was going on, or where I wasn't where I needed to be. Right? So that was the financial piece. Spiritually, and those who have been in a church, grew up in a church, the institutional church can have you being very busy. Right? And they always say busy doing the work of the church. Well, how's it go? You're not good for the work of the Lord. You get all confused, right? Look at that. Okay, I'm doing all these things, but where am I spiritually? Where is my faith?
Come on.
Right? So that was the spiritual, financially, looking at my environment. And I sat and looked at my home, and my ex-husband left, who is a carpenter and a contractor. Our house looked like Miss Haversham's place, right? There was so much that needed to be done. But that environment, right, comes into your psyche. I mean, why do you need to have feng shui and all that kind of stuff and colors? And so I just started managing some of those things, right? So when I say I was peeling back the onion and kind of looking at myself and figuring out what I needed to do, that's what I did. I started to rediscover me and my voice, because I had lost my voice. I had lost my identity of who I am, not what I do, not whose mom I am, not whose wife I am, but who I am. And so I started getting involved and doing the things that I really like to do. And it's been fun. Right? It's been fun. So, you know, the first year that I turned over, the first few months, you know, my kids like, Mom, you just wilding out. Because I was just, I was wilding out. I was going out, I was doing it, but that's what I enjoyed doing, and I hadn't done it, right? So, yes, I like going out, listening to live music, and having a glass of wine, and dancing, right? But you can get so hung up, and, you know, sometimes you're made to feel like that stuff is wrong, right? And as you start talking about some of those church institutions, that have you all bound up, thinking, you know, so that's another piece.
You're right.
And so then I started to travel. And now people like, where are you this week? Like, where's Waldo? Because they know I will be gone. But the first trip was so hard. This was in June of 2017, and some of my people I went to school with, they travel a lot. And we're going to the Bahamas. They're like, you should come. And I was like, well, you know, I need to save my money for my divorce, because I knew how much that was going to cost, or, you know, whatever. And then the kids are going to be home. Now, they're adults, like, you know, they're going to be home, and, you know, I still I should be here. They're like, Mom, you should go. Because my children were very supportive of me. And I went on that trip, and it was transformational. So much so that I just stood on the balcony and just cried tears, because it was like, this is what I have been missing, that I enjoy. And so, you know, I just started, you know, I do a lot of things. I journal, I meditate, I just protect my no.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've learned to say no. And realizing that self-care is selfish, and it really benefits the ecosystem.
Come on now.
Right?
Yeah.
We always heard happy life, nobody happy, nobody happy. That's a real
talk.
Right?
Yes.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's good.
There you
And
go.
if you haven't poured yourself, and if you're not happy, you can't give it to others. You can't show up as the best version of yourself. So Loni said, living your best life. When one prolific writer, Snoop Dogg, came up with the song, living your best life. That was my theme song. And I got 2 t-shirts to say living my best life. Right. Because that is where I was and where I want to continue to be. Because there's no shame. I turned 59 in August.
You look good though.
And I have more years behind me than I did in front of me.
Come on,
I
yes.
had decided that my latter years would be greater than my former. And come hell or high water, I'm going to make sure. And I'm still giving, I'm still loving. I'm everything that my children need, but it filters on like, okay, is this going to be this and that? They're adults now, so y'all figure it out. So, but it's been good, right? And I made the transition. So I was went on a cruise in October. Some of the same people that I went with back in 2017, right? Because we travel together every year. We went on a cruise, 8-day cruise. I know this is a wonderful day. And she said, "You look so happy." She said, she said, "It's like you're glowing." And I've had several people tell me that, like, look like you're glowing. And it's not because I've done anything, but it's because this on the inside.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Amen.
You will be okay.
Believe that.
You are. But you have to be strong and courageous to make choices and be an advocate for yourself. You're an advocate for your kids, for your parents, for your siblings. You're an advocate for everybody. Who's going to advocate for you? You have to advocate. Any questions or? Yes.
I just sat here and listened to you. Some of your stories, my story, we all kind of can relate and identify.
Absolutely.
And I just want to thank you. I got out, I'm always writing down something, and I took down some good points. I too am on a self journey and trying to find myself. Was in a marriage for 20 years, very toxic. I just want to say thank you for today, because yesterday I allowed that same toxic person to come back, thinking that it was gonna be okay, but it wasn't. And I'm refocusing, readjusting my crown again, locking the door, locking my heart up. I'm not gonna say one day it won't be love, but it's not that love, and I have to keep telling myself to don't go back. There's nothing back there. But that feeling of old love and those words sometimes swoo you in. But today I'm better, and I do journal. I'm doing a lot of things. We haven't went through the process of the divorce yet, but I'm there. I'm getting there, But I just thank you. I'm glad that I'm here today amongst all these women and able to just keep going, and I'm gonna stay focused.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing. One of the things I want to say to you is release the judgment from yourself.
Yeah.
Be gracious to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself. So don't look at it as I did something wrong today or bad. It's where you are, and it's a process. Right? Divorce is a process. I mean, you can do the legal part, right? That's easy, the judge, that's easy. But the emotional part, so it's okay. Because you don't have those days. I went through a whole rape, some days, and even now, I still get triggered. And while I know that my divorce was the best thing for me because I knew what I was in was not God's best for me. And I also know that had I not gone through that, I I wouldn't be able to have an impact and talk to other women and help women. So, you know, all things work together for good, and there's a process, right? But in September, my first granddaughter was born.
All right.
And so, but prior to that, she lives in Las Vegas. My ex-husband went down to visit her, and he was helping her put together the dresser and things like that. It triggered me because the thought was we would be grandparents together, right? We'll be doing this together, seeing our grandchildren. So you're still going to have triggers. And whether you go or stay, make it your choice, right? If this is, I'm choosing to do this, and understand who you need to be fully you, to show up as the best version of you in that, right? So that's what I would just say to encourage you. And something that someone told me, and I have seen it several times since then, is what hurts you can't heal you. And so, you know, let it be though for you, right? And don't succumb to the words and the this and the that, unless that is what you choose to do. Make it your choice, right? Where you're consciously saying, okay, I'm going to do this. If you want to give it another try, that's on you. There's no judgment. But please release the judgment from yourself. Because we're so hard on ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, we are.
Critical. You sure right. And let me tell you something. She been through a lot, but honey, it sure don't look like she been through a lot.
You better say it,
As women, I swear to you, I thank you so much for bringing us here to share our stories and to chat with you. Because guess what? What putting ourselves first look like is what's in this room.
Come on now.
You all are putting yourselves
That's
first.
right.
And guess what? There is no judgment of what that looks like, right? So I tell you, this is your time, and I'm so grateful that we're having this conversation because the way the planet is moving, it's all about the feminine energy, and it's time for us to show up and stop playing small.
Come on. Yes, ma'am.
So that's the main thing. And I have to take notes because I get so passionate about this topic, so I want to stay focused. But I really want you all to take this time to sit with yourselves. I know you're hearing us and staying in the moment, but take this time to really reflect for yourself. Who am I? And I'm not talking about these titles you all have, like mother and partner and whatever your title is at work. It's about who am I?
I'm so sorry.
How do I show up in the world? Because guess what? When your day comes, at your funeral, nobody's going to be remembering your titles. They're going to remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So I say to you, there is no judgment around this because we all were taught many things. We observe many things as women. And guess what we do? This is what we do, right? This is our nature, right? We give. Right now, we give it. We give it at this amount. Honestly, it could be half empty. It could be almost full. We're going to still give. The only time we can give, honestly, is when we are in the overflow.
Right.
That's really what we should be giving. But we have been conditioned to keep on giving. I'm going to be honest with you. Guess what? It's no judgment. There's still no judgment around that. Right? But what I'm asking you all to do today, as homework, is one, know who you are. I want you to go home and talk and really have a dialogue. In my separate life, so my corporate life, I work all day. But in my separate life, I am a coach. I'm a life coach, but I'm an intimacy coach. And what I've learned over the years is that I was disconnected to myself. And so I'm asking you all today to really have an intimate relationship with yourself. How in the world anybody else going to show up for you if you can't show up for yourself?
Amen. That's right.
I need for you all to fall back in love with you. I'm sitting in a room with some cold women. And some of y'all may feel it and some of y'all may not. It's easier to say it, whether you not believe me or not, it's on you. But I will tell you, this is a constant battle sometimes we have within ourselves because we are our own inner critics. Putting yourself first may look different from all of you. So I don't want you to take what I say or you want Michelle to say, oh, I need to go back and do this. No, because it's going to show for you differently because your journey is your journey. And there's no assessment, there's no judgment on how you go about this in your life, right? But for me, I looked at putting myself first in two ways, personally and professionally. And so I'm going to talk about the professional side first, and then I'll pause because I want Michelle to have time, and I want to make sure you all end on time. But for me, professionally, what put myself meant, so I'm in HR, and I've been with the bank 23 years. And being at the bank, and I'll just speak for my organization, and what I have observed, Black people and women do not get the true feedback that we need to be successful and to continue to move up. I asked my boss, I said, wait a minute, my hair is shaved and I got purple lashes. Is that gonna keep me from moving up? Because I just want to know. Don't play with me. Now my work product speaks for myself over the years I've been there, but people tend to judge folks on how they look.
Yes.
Okay? And so I was real, I was honest. I need for you to tell me if my purple lash is going to hinder me from moving up. My kinky hair, that ain't mine. So I can be in full transparency. I got a perm. I love my creamy crack. But right now I'm taking to it. Anyway, with my shaved hair, but I'm saying, is this going to prevent me from moving forward? Because if it is, you need to let me know. So it can be a choice for me whether or not I'm going to assimilate or keep being my authentic self.
Come on, sis.
And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to be able to show. I used to be straight laced, blue suits, navy suits, all that. You know that. So now I get to honestly feel like at this point in my life, being 47 years old, I can bring my true self to work. And it took a long time to get there, but it's critical and important. Where I am in my life, so let me tell you something. When you're in your 40s and you lose your mama, you lose your mind. And so you think things differently now than you used to. And you move through life differently than you used to. So when I talk about the professional side, for me, how I put myself first, one is a portion of my salary goes towards my professional development.
Amen to that.
I take a portion of my salary. Yes, should my manager develop me? Yes. And my company spend time and invest in me? Yes. But it's my job to be able to manage my own career path, because sometimes your company is not going to always do it.
Right.
So I will
That's right.
take money out of my salary for my own professional development. That's important to me because it's my responsibility. The other thing is, and what I've noticed in 2020 when everything shifted with the pandemic, is I realized, especially being on the HR side, there's a lot of people that need to be skilled up.
Yes.
So for me, personally, rebranding myself constantly is important. So I can't say, oh, I'm still working on typing 2.0 from what I learned at Shaw High School to I need to make sure that I am up on the latest technology so I can compete and so I can maintain my job. And so it is important that we stay very close to what's trending, not to be relevant, but to be able to continue to compete. I still got some years ahead of me before I can retire.
Right.
So I got to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to stay relevant as it relates to that. Melanie know this well because I talk about this all the time when I'm here. You need to have a people at the seat at the table, your personal board of directors, and she teaches this in this program. And so when I look at my personal board of directors and what's important for me in my life and in my development, I tell people you got to have a professional coach.
Right.
You got to have a mentor. You got to have somebody that you can be vulnerable with. Yolanda, you know what? I almost cussed them out. I I need to talk to you. I need somebody I can be vulnerable with because I'm about to go off.
Right.
So she can sit down and say, okay, Latoya, take it, breathe it up, let it go, vomit it out. But what you're not going to do is go back there and say that.
Right.
So you need to have that person in your life who can say, no, you're not going to do that. I understand where you're coming from, but here's how you do it differently. So you need to have that mentor, that person in your life who can help you along that path. Then you need to have an advocate. You need to have somebody advocating for you, whether it's in your organization, outside your organization, in your industry, outside of your industry. So who's at the table when you can't be there? So you got to think about that. And so who's at your table who can help you to get where you need to be? If there are some gaps in your development, what's the difference between where you are and where you want to be, and who can help you to shrink that gap? The other person, you need to have a negotiator. Let me tell you something. Women make what? 78 cents to the dollar to the white man? Why? With education now. With education. So we still getting paid less with less education. I've been in HR for a long time, and I have seen it happen. And I'm always advocating for my candidates. But when I'm here, when she invites me here, or I'm at El Barrio, or what have you, I'm telling women, listen, you better start negotiating. And if you need to learn how to negotiate, if you got some kids, hell, they know how to teach you how to negotiate. They take everything from me. My 2 kids know how to negotiate. So and I understand that it's difficult. However, it's not difficult when you know your worth.
Right.
That's right.
That's good right there.
This is why I want you to do your homework.
Yes.
Because you deserve to have the seat at the table. You deserve to get paid for your education and investment in yourself. Then you got to have an accountability partner. Because guess what? Who's going to hold you? You would do it for your accountability partner before you do it for yourself.
Right.
So I have a couple of accountability partners because, when you get in your 40s and this weight loss journey is a little something. You eat one piece of sugar, you blow up. Anyway, so I have some people in my circle that I have to take pictures of my food and be like, look, this is what I ate today. This is how many calories, this is what I worked out, whatever. Because the struggle is real. But I would do it more so for them than I could do it for myself.
That's right.
So you gotta have somebody who can hold you accountable. So that used to be my core at the table, but I had to add somebody else to the table. Honey, you gotta get you a good therapist, honey. Because stuff will come up.
Talk about it. Yes.
That you need to heal
Yes.
from.
Yes.
And it ain't no shame
Tell
for
'em.
you to have a therapist who can help you to unpack that trauma and all that stuff that no longer serves you,
Say it.
that was put on you,
game.
Say it.
that ain't yours,
Right.
okay?
Absolutely.
And so therefore, there's nothing wrong with it,
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
okay?
Amen.
Because the only
Yes.
way you can get healthy and put yourself first in a clean, clear mind, you gotta get help.
Yes.
Some of this stuff you can't, and trust me, I'm a praying sister. Some stuff you can't pray away.
Come on.
I need somebody to help me break this down, why I'm acting the way I am, or why
Yes.
I'm doing the things that I do, and to help me to release that trauma so I can get closer to having this intimate, relationship with myself.
Thank you.
So get you a good therapist.
Say something right
Yeah,
there.
go ahead. I got me excited. Sorry.
And
Yes,
when
yes,
I
yes.
separated in January, I was in therapy weekly for a year.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I went to every other week, and then I went to monthly, and I just stopped when COVID hit. So,
And I'm still
yes.
having here.
And I feel like I need to go back for a checkup, like, okay, just make sure. Yeah.
And so please,
Yes.
don't get me wrong. Find you a good therapist who be willing to listen to you, who
Right.
be willing to challenge you, give you homework. My therapist, one time I thought she pulled my whole soul away, and one time I wanted to give her double pay because she hit it right on the nail. Because you want to understand where the root cause from, not to stay stuck in the past, but understand the root cause so you can move forward. Right?
Yes.
And so when
Yes.
things come up, you'll know how to bring it to your awareness but not get stuck there, right? When triggers happen, you don't get stuck there. It just comes to your awareness so you can move forward. So when you know you totally healed, when it no longer affects you.
Yes.
Amen. That's
Okay.
right.
When you can look at it and say, oh, well.
Exactly. So I'm going to speed this up real quick. So on the development side, on the professional side, it is important for me because guess what? Now I want to be able to use my voice. There's a difference between growing up and what I learned. I used to talk so much, but I didn't use my voice. There was a difference. And I want to make sure at this point in your life, you are using your voice, right? The other thing, I want you to make sure that you're holding space and taking up space in the room for sisters. Because we got to do this for each other. And it's not about you getting ahead or anything like that, because it's more than enough. At my age nowadays, when people are asking me to do things, if it doesn't fall in my 5 P's, I don't do it. If it doesn't fall in my passion, my purpose, giving me some more paper, my professional development, or bringing me pleasure, I don't do it.
Love it. Love it. Yes.
Period. Got it. Because no is a
She said period. Got it. Okay.
I would ask that you challenge the process and be curious. Be careful in judging one another, because guess what? I'm a reflection of you. We are a reflection of one another.
Amen.
You better say it.
Real talk.
And you do have to guard up your spirit, because everybody is not about good. But you can see that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell people, no, you can't be in my life. No, just be it. No, girl. You can be you. And as you be you, everybody will fall away. Because if they don't align with you, you can't attract that energy anymore.
That's right.
So I'm going to transition because I don't want to take all the space. Michelle, because that's my middle name, Michelle. Oh,
Very good.
I feel like I could cry. Oh, question?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, press
I just wanted to add one more person to that, a prayer partner.
all right.
Yes, really.
Yes.
Thank you. So my accountability partner is my prayer partner, but you're absolutely right. Because sometimes a sister needs prayer because I'm about to cut somebody up in 2 seconds, so you better pray.
What were your 5 P's, real quick?
My passion, my purpose, my pockets or my paper, my professional development or pleasure,
Okay, thank
And then the last one, prayer partner.
and prayer partner. She added the 6th one.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel I'm so passionate about all this and hearing your stories and all of us sharing and being here together. It's honestly, I could cry like when you start to, because it's just being so honest with each other. And I think that for me, I was from Canada when I was 27 and single, and I think I'd been single for a while. And so I got the opportunity with the company I was with to move to California, and I did it. And so for me, that was like the perfect time because I didn't have to fill any roles. I moved alone, so I didn't have to like visit my family. Like I hate to say it, but like basically Monday to Friday, I had to show up for my job, and then sometimes my goal was like not even move the car, because if any of you have been to Southern California, I mean traffic is not good.
Yes.
So to just do whatever I wanted on the weekends, and I used to volunteer and carry all these roles, right? And a daughter and donating time and whatever. But I went to a workshop, and on a Saturday morning, I'll never forget, Capistrano Beach, early morning, and somehow I thought I was at some blue sky thinking workshop about Disney, and I'm in the corporate world, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. And the first question that they asked was, what is not in your life and why? And I was like, put the wall up, defensive, because I'm trying to think at that point how long I'd been single, like maybe 4 or 5 years. I'm not good with time, but like a long time. And so I was defensive. And so that's when I started on this journey of self-exploration. And I was raised in the church and big believer in God, but I also got to explore like other ideas and books, and like Susie Orman came into my life. Anybody know Susie Orman?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like self-worth equals net worth. And I mean, I was like minus 20K when I moved, and had the self-worth that went along with that. And it definitely is a journey. And I appreciate so much of what everyone said tonight, because there's so many things where it is all connected. And I think that what I realized through some of these weekend workshops that I started going to was almost like group therapy, because they would ask questions and I would just write things down. So maybe that would be my suggestion for you guys. Take away that question. It's like, okay, well, what is not in your life and why? But it took me a while. In fact, it was a social gathering with some of the people that we all hung out with in this class. And we'd had, dinner, a glass of wine, and then one of the facilitators said to me, are you okay? And what I heard was, you're not okay to drive. That's what I heard, right? I had a glass of wine. But what he said was, hey, are you okay? But somehow it was that shift, I think, that you were talking about, where I went home that night and then I realized, I was like, whoa, like I'm just coming at everything with like this defensive filter. And it wasn't serving me. And I was pretending, right? Pretending that putting on this persona of trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And now it's been so long, I don't even remember like the silly joke that I used to tell about, like, just being real is obviously the most important thing, not to pretend. And if you don't know the answer, that's okay. And that's what collaboration's about. So yeah, Susie Orman and Wayne Dyer wrote a book about everyday miracles. Like when you get 3 green lights in a row, that's a miracle. So just to try to start to appreciate the little things. Right.
That's it.
So it was great because out west, it was just me, and then I did meet my husband out west, and now we're here in Cleveland, 15 years. But it was a great opportunity, and everybody here, we're all in different spaces and such. But to like do that investigation, that self-exploration. Now my kids, I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. And I do. So you do 11 and 14? Oh, fun. All right, well, we'll have to talk. Please. I want to stay too. Right. All right, and so I'll just say, right before tonight, I was getting my 11-year-old's hair done. Like, she has gorgeous hair tonight. And so the hairstylist was like, wow, you're on this panel about putting yourself first. You're at the salon getting her hair done. But, you have to make choices, right? But anyways, what I wanted to say was that I realized I want to have things that I love in my life as well. Because I work full time. I work from home. I have worked from home for like 18 years.
Wow.
Love it.
awesome.
I mean, love it. And for me, the fun is when you get to go out and see clients and get dressed up. And I got the blue suit on it tonight. She said I didn't have to dress up. I only have a couple suits. So anyway, but I think where I am now is just asking myself, like, what brings me joy? And I honestly, many of the things that bring me joy, of course I love travel, but many of these things, they don't cost anything, but it's a matter of taking some time for yourself. So if I don't go to every kid's soccer game, I just don't, because my one daughter's on 3 soccer teams. It's like not possible to go to all these games. Or guess what? Once in a while on a Sunday, I like to make a bolognese, like all afternoon, and drink some wine, and just like be home to do that. But if you're not home, like you can't be everywhere. And the other thing, like reading books, and that's something else. So the library, and I just think that if you take a moment to try to think about what brings you joy, is it music, and to just try to like hit pause for a second and like enjoy, I mean, what's that? There's a Sia song right now, Unstoppable. It keeps coming up. I mean, I crank that in my car. I don't know if anybody else does that. And just like in that moment, it's like such an energetic song. And my kids tease me because I also work for a bank holding company, and like this is like the perfect song that they would play to inspire us when we all used to get together, like in those meetings. But yeah, but to take a moment and just to get outside, right? I think so. We were talking about an arborist. Weren't we talking about the trees before tonight? Yeah. And just the incredible, they're healing, and just getting outside, and if we can, put our phone down.
That's the key. That's the key.
I don't think I can do that.
I can.
It's so hard.
I know you can have it.
It's so hard. I mean, and
You need my life.
It does, right? But to just, so those are some of the ways that I think that now, and getting back involved with dress. I mean, when I came to Top Golf, I know some of you were at your annual event that you just had. It was so great, and honestly, just being around, like you said, being around these powerful women, everyone here that's in the room, like we inspire each other, and I think that maybe is what I would say too, is to sort of take stock of who are you listening to. And you said it. You don't even have to say goodbye. I forget who said it. Like it's just that as you start to be authentic and just be who you are, if it's not going to match up anymore, that energy, it does go. But then it makes this, and then somebody else will come in, right? Absolutely. So that's where I'm now. When I had to write that bio, Melanie, thank you so much for asking me, because I've not been on a panel before and I didn't have a bio, and I had to reread it just because I'm like, what did I put down? But honestly, this idea that like let's find some more joy in our life, because there's so much we could just really go down all those paths, like self-doubt, sure, or we could just listen to the news, or we could look at our, any number of things.
I want you all to think about, where did you learn to put others first? I want you to sit with that. Where did you learn that you
Yeah,
put
my
other
mother.
people first? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I learned, just like you, I saw my mother put everybody first. Everybody first.
Right.
And so you learn that in the home, you learn that through observation. And as women, we're nurturers, right? That's what we're gonna do, right?
Right.
But what I realized about myself, I continue to help and do for others because I didn't want to have to do anything. That's why I didn't want to have to do
Yeah.
Right.
What
Yeah.
I realized was that I was a rescuer. And I can rescue you, and you. But I did not take the time to
Rescue me.
rescue me.
Come on, sister.
Right.
And when I learned that, I said, there's nothing wrong with me helping others. However, I do it differently now.
Right.
Because also you have to be detached from the outcome. Well, you didn't do what I asked you to do. Ms. Jordan, you didn't do what I asked you to do. And I told you to do it this way, and I got attached to that outcome. And so now when I help people, it's not to rest. First of all, I ask you now, how would you like me to show up? Because sometimes we just help folks. Maybe they want to figure out for themselves. Right. So now I just say, how would you like for me to show up for you? Somebody just may want me to listen, not for me to problem solve. And so I can't go into each situation as is I'm corporate and trying to help somebody out. No. You may just need a listening ear. No, you just may want me to pray for you. No, you may need a solution. You know what I'm saying? And so now I do it differently and say, how would you like for me to show up for you? How can I hold space for you? I see you. Because now it's not about me. Or I would do something because I think, oh, this is what I can do to help somebody because this is what they need. And I'm just like, it ain't about me. So I had to learn that the hard way. By either losing friendships or I'm so down in my own pity party. And I said, I ain't percolating at nobody's pity party no more. Not even my own. And so I'm going to challenge you today to ask you, number one, where did it come from? And how can you release those things that no longer serve you? Because the only way you can put yourself first, and I had to write this down, number one, you got to ask for what you want. And then guess what? Right. You can't say closed mouth get fed, but then you're not open to receive. You got to be able to do both.
Right.
And the only way you can do both is you have to know your self-worth. The one thing I had to do is love myself without conditions.
Say it.
That's hard to do because we're so self-critical, right? Because we're the first ones to criticize ourselves. I had to teach my kids. They were teasing each other, 11 and 14. My daughter 11 going on 22. My son 14, I don't understand 14. And we both hormonal. My hormones out of control, he is out of control. And so I'm just like, I'm teaching him, you know, if you having a bad day, let it up.
Right.
Go in your room because I want to teach you. But anyway, but I'm teaching them not to tease each other. I'm teaching them not to call each other names. Because I'm injured from things that was taught or said to me, even in my own household from my own siblings.
Yes.
So I am healing and peeling back layers to understand that I am worthy and I am enough and I love myself. So when I make a mistake, instead of saying, that was stupid of me to make that mistake, I said, oops, I made a mistake. It's all right. And that self-talk is so important.
Another key thing that I kind of went through was shifting your mindset, right? And so your mindset is those beliefs, those things you were taught, and you know how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to show up, and you know, but you have to shift that mindset to really see a change. Because you know, if you don't shift your mindset, you continue to keep doing
Amen.
the same thing.
Yes.
You know, when they say get the
Same
same.
same with the same results.
Right.
Yes.
But you do have to be gracious to yourself and self-talk. You know, so Mary J. Blige, hello, good morning, gorgeous. I mean, you should have
Hey.
there every morning. Hey,
Hey, good
you
morning.
know, good, bad, the ugly, and embracing those things, right?
Yes.
About yourself. But one thing I want to add to what you were saying about is understanding who you are and why you've got to sit down, turn the TV off, turn the phone off, turn the radio off, be quiet because I also think that busyness kept me from dealing with me and being so involved in the kids. And when you say you didn't have to go to every soccer game, not me. I was at every game, come what may, right? And my kids came to depend on that. But as I look back, I was like, I didn't have to go to every game. I could have missed a game and went out with my friends. But my mind was, I gotta be here for my kids. Right? So that's, that shifting in the mindset when you just start thinking different and talking to yourself different. That's what I was telling the young lady over here. Give yourself some, grace. Give yourself grace. We give grace to everybody. Give yourself grace. Don't judge yourself. It's judgment free. Like I said, whoops, that wasn't right. Oh well. Keep it moving, right?
It is what it is.
And the other thing about being stuck, sometimes you feel stuck. Well, one way to think of stuck is think of it as a journey to clarity. So as you keep moving, you become more clear who you are, what you want, what you like, all of that, right? And I know, Toya, we probably know each other before, because I too work at a bank. But we met years ago, right? And I can say we didn't just get to where we are now. We had to go through some stuff. But the biggest piece in all of the changes that I think the common thread was, it goes back to self-reflection. You have to look at yourself. And you look at the bad and the ugly. Know where your weak spots are. Know that I can be critical. I know that about me. So I have to check myself when I feel myself going off to this critical spirit, right? But you gotta know that about you. So so you don't get offended like, oh, you saw this. When people say that to you, you should be like, why did they say that?
Some truth to that.
What would make you say that about me?
But I think too, maybe sometimes the way we hear things, like I said, that story, it's not necessarily the way they intended it. But I know back in the day, Dr. Phil, I just remember he used to say something about like stop the tape. So I feel like when there's something going round and round, some lie that we've been telling ourselves or that we believe, of course we're not going to think positively all the time. Actually, when you said mindset, I'm like, oh, I had that here. But to just take a minute and just try to hit pause. And then if I can't, like, talk to, quiet, or go outside. Like, just, if it's 5 minutes in between whatever else you have to do. And now it's getting cold, and I don't really want to go outside, but to step away and do that, I think it's so important. And yeah, the quiet, it's kind of scary though, and it's hard. And then you think, well, I have to do 20 minutes. I can't do 20 minutes of sitting. Well, maybe it's only 5 minutes in the shower.
Right.
But how many times does some great idea come to you in the shower? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
It's about also creating boundaries. Once you create your boundaries and you start shifting, you have to retrain people who are around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your parents, your significant other, you have to retrain those people or choose to retrain those people, because as you are evolving, you are no longer the same. And you have to train people how to treat the new you. And that may be difficult, but in order to honor you and put you first, you're going to have to do that. And it may hurt, but oh well. But it's all about you and putting yourself first. One of the things that, in order to help me put myself first, I have a ritual that I do every morning. So I get up early, even though before COVID I could really get up early, but now I'm just like, God, don't get me up before 7. But anyway, I have 2 hours to myself, and people know not in my house, don't talk to me those 2 hours, because that's my first 2 hours. I pray, I meditate, I write my affirmations, I set my intentions on how I want my day to go, I read my Bible plan, I cleanse my office, because I work from home, so I cleanse my office with some Palo Santo spray or sage or whatever. I cleanse my office because I want the energy to be right, and I start my day. I do that ritually at least Monday through Friday. That's my time to myself. And when I do that, my day honestly goes as how I want it to go. and the drama or the tension or whatever, as things come throughout the day, I handle it differently with more clarity, as well as I can make better decisions because I've already set my intentions on how I want my day to be, right? And so that's important. So however you need to put yourself first, because guess what? That's going to look differently for all of you.
Yeah.
But you got to honor yourself first, you know? And then you got to teach people what that looks like. But you got to also honor your own boundaries. Because if you don't, and they see you, they're not going to honor it either. So, just real simple. If I say I'm on a diet, and I can't eat this donut, but she said, girl, you got to eat this donut. And she enticed me with it, and I bite this donut and eat it. Now I'm mad at her. Well, guess what? I didn't honor my boundaries.
Right.
Because if I tell her no, the answer is no. And if she respects me, she's not going to keep pushing me to eat the donut. But if I eat the donut, she already know, oh yeah, I can get her every single time. She don't even honor her own boundaries, so she wants me to honor them.
Right.
So we got to make sure that we have our own boundaries to protect ourselves. And like you said, if you're going to hit yourself with a grace stick.
Right.
Hit yourself with grace. Because that's what we need today. Right? And so you're going to make mistakes, things are going to happen. It's all part of the journey. And it may not feel good. But you'll look back and say, okay, I was supposed to go through this because now I'm here. And I've learned through that. So I just appreciate you all listening. And so whatever putting yourself looks like for you, it's for you. If you want to put your kids first, that's great. As long as that brings you joy. If it doesn't bring you joy or pleasure, don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to teach people to redefine what pleasure means. And it ain't about the sexual piece. It's always about what brings you joy. Like this right here is pleasurable for me. And it brings me joy.
Yeah.
So we need to redefine what that looks like. And the last thing I'll say is you need to make sure that you make sure that you come first. And you can take that literally or figuratively, I don't care how you take it, but you're right.
Amen.
Say it.
Amen.
Take it from the intimacy coach. I mean what I'm saying to you, seriously. But you all need to do that. And I'm just grateful for the conversation. It is our time to fall in love with you. So your last homework assignment for me is write yourself a love letter.
Amen.
Write yourself a love letter.
I don't think I did one roll since I was in elementary school.
Well, you better go back to it, baby.
Right, and
Because
write
you
it
probably
to
got a lot of,
yourself.
I want you to write it to yourself. It is time, ladies. It is time.
Ladies, also like that future self too, a letter to your future self.
Oh, wow.
Say like, you know, where you want to, whatever you pick the age, you know, next year, right? So you read it. So your future self is like, okay, I have gone through this, I've done this, I did that. So that's another way. But that love letter to yourself, I mean, I'm like, so who you with? I'm like my best friend. Who?
Me.
Myself and I love me. I love me. I love spending time with me. Yes.
No, then you be able to see like she was saying, like what's in your life that's not right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you looking at yourself a year later, you could be like, oh, okay, now I see what I didn't like. Now I see what I don't like. You know, now I can go about this planning ahead of time. Like it's very inspirational because I'm only 33, but I'm dealing with a disability that I was just diagnosed with, and it's hard for me to come out and like be around like people anxiety and depression and all that. So just having other women share their stories and they drive, it motivates me because you don't know by looking at me like, hey, she going through this and this, but like you said, you don't judge because you never know. That's right. You never know where somebody's coming from. So I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you, Ms. Melody.
Thank you.
Ladies on the panel, thank you so much for your openness, your honesty. Ladies, that's what we're all here to do with each other. We want more of this as we grow and come back to in-person meetings. I don't want to be zooming in. So PWG will not be zoomed. It will be in person.
Okay.
We do have some lunch and learns that we do virtually at the middle of the day because I know we all have these different work schedules. So we have a 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock twice a month. Our next one is December 6th. We're at the end of the year, so it's not gonna be twice a month this month, for December, but returning in January. Lunch and learns are twice a month. December 6th, we're gonna be talking about stress to strength. So some of this energy that we're talking about shifting around and putting ourselves first, I have found from being stressed that you can change that into power. Okay? So come out, tune in for December 6th, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And then we'll be back in this room on December 15th with Mel Tree Sharp. And we're gonna be talking about holiday imposters.
All right.
Holiday imposters. And I'm not gonna explain that because I want you to come out and see what we're talking about.
What date was that again?
December 15th, it's a Thursday evening, just like tonight. Well, no, it's a Thursday evening.
Today's Tuesday.
But it's
What day it is.
Thursday. I get it.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a set schedule for?
Because we're at the
Tuesday,
end,
okay.
because we're at the end of the year and we just relaunched this, it's tonight and December 15th, and that's it for this year. But we will be putting out a set schedule for 2023, so you'll know in advance the PWG activity, okay? We're also going to send you a survey after tonight so that we can get some feedback. Best night, best, Saturday morning used to be PWG, right? That was a sweet spot. That's not, in today's time, that's not necessarily our sweet spot. Putting yourself first, I put myself first. My car does not move on Saturday.
That's right.
It don't. I'm not out there in the rat race because that's not who I want to be anymore. And I used to do that a lot. I stayed going for this job. I stayed going for the personal. Stayed going for my mother. Deliver me from all of that, okay? So that is one thing. It took almost 18 months to get that. But I got it, okay? So the only time you'll see me moving on a Saturday if we have a fundraiser. And I do that so me, Monica, and Dion can get paid. No, but no, and so we can keep our doors open, and that's the truth of nonprofit. You have to keep money coming in. Nonprofit is a tax status. It doesn't mean we're not a business. Okay? So we need to keep our doors open so we can continue to empower each other and empower new women coming through our doors and joining our network. And so that's a mandate, right? But I'm talking about personal choices. I don't choose to move. And so whatever your choice is, as Latoya, Michelle, and Arlanda said, whatever it is, it's going to be different for all of us, okay? Mine, another choice of mine this year was my hair. I'm released me because of her and all of that. And I thought about how much money I was spending. Guess what? I'm 65 years old. Retirement is right there. Okay, I don't need to be doing that. So we all have different choices to make life our best life. So I thank you for coming out tonight. I believe staff has some goodies for every woman that came in today. We have totes from Saks that were donated.
Right.
And there's some goodies really stuffed inside of each one of those. Yes, if you would take a few minutes to take the scan card and scan your phone right now and take that survey, please, before you leave. Yes,